The pick is in. The 76ers will be the third pick in the NBA draft. We're going to break down lottery night and so much more right here on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Locked On 76ers. We're your host, Keith Pompey, 76ers beat writer. I'm Kayla Santiago, sideline reporter for the Delaware Bluecoats. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. In addition, by checking out our free daily newsletter. So, Keith, 76ers, they get the third spot. They are number 3 in this draft. They avoid going out of the top 6. How you feeling after all that? Because there was a little nervousness on my end of where they were going to end up before it all went down.
I don't know. Like, it's weird. Like, to me, it's kind of like I expected them to get the pick. In regards, I always expected them to get the pick. But the crazy thing about it is, I don't know if you noticed, but this is the 4th time in the last 5 lotteries that they got a top 3 pick. And it's crazy because actually it's the 4th time in the last 5 lotteries that they got a top 3 pick. Like before that, it was kind of like before it was kind of like they got was it Jahlil Okafor? Yep. Then it was matter of fact, it's the 5th time. 5th and 6th, because it was Jahlil Okafor. Then it was Joel Embiid, Jahlil Okafor. Ben Simmons went number 1. Then all of a sudden it was Markelle Fultz who went number 3, but they traded up. And then the guy who got away, Mikal Bridges, went number 10.
I know.
Traded him. And this one is number 3. So this is 5. 5 in the last 6 times that they got that pick. I mean, that's saying a lot. So again, you know what? I don't know how I feel. Like, I don't really have a feeling for it. You know what I mean? Because I try not to be a fan, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I feel like, the 76ers have a lot of luck. They're known for moving up in the draft, and their luck continued.
And it's the luck I feel they've really, really needed after this season. And it's interesting because going in to this lottery, I said the one thing the 76ers did right was they tanked properly. They knew what they were doing at the end of the season, and it did end up paying off for them. And this is huge now because now you're in a situation where you can really bring somebody in that can help out Joel Embiid in addition to Paul George and Tyrese Maxey if everybody stays healthy. So when you look at the lottery board, you look at some teams that had the ultimate tank that were just bad teams, and the Jazz and the Wizards, they probably didn't end up where they wanted to. I thought the 76ers just for a moment might have been close to number 1. That goes to the Mavs. But at the end of the day, I understand that a lot of people are saying it's Cooper Flag, but there's a lot of other pieces that could really blend well with this lineup that the 76ers have if they're healthy.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's a lot of people. Let's face it. It's Cooper Flag is going to go number 1
right
to the Dallas Mavericks. Aside from that, then you're going to have Dylan Harper, who's going to go number 2, most likely to the Spurs. As great as Cooper Flag is, he's the headliner. There are a lot of scouts and a lot of executives who feel like Dylan Harper could end up being the best player years to come, like when they reclass, when they reseed the draft, he could be that. A 6'7" 6'7" point guard with him with Wembanyama. You got a 1-5 combo for years to come. So outside of that, you look at it, the Sixers have a lot of options. But you know what? The guy that I like for the 76ers is Ace Bailey, if the Sixers utilize him the right way, right? To me, there's only 2 guys. If you want the 3rd pick and if you want to keep him, there's 2 guys. There's VJ Edgecombe and there's Ace Bailey, right? Now, the thing about Ace Bailey, the thing that I like is he's listed as 6'10", right? Although he measured out at 6'8", 6'7" and a half, right? But he has a a 7-foot wingspan, right?
Mhm.
In the 8'11", whatever reach. I mean 7'1" reach and 8'11" wingspan. The guy is long. I think that he's a guy that the 76ers have to think long and hard about, and I think they need to draft that guy.
I'm in agreement with you. And, we talked about this a while ago in our kind of draft show. Who could the 76ers get if Cooper Flagg wasn't on the table, if they don't get the number one pick? And Ace Bailey, the only thing from college that worries me is that turnover ratio a little bit. But every other category, he seems to be a really good fit for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I do like him over VJ Edgecombe. He averaged 17.6 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 46 from the field as well. You're looking at a player, and this is no slack to Cooper Flagg, but it was interesting because when you look at Cooper Flagg, he is so used to being the guy. He is so used to being what he needs to be. And on the Mavs, he's probably not going to be the number one scoring option, but he might get some looks. On the 76ers, he definitely wouldn't be. So when you look at somebody like Ace Bailey, you're saying, okay, yeah, you want another scorer there too, but you also get somebody that can be wide, that can defend, that the 76ers could really utilize. And his right now, what they're comparing him to in the NBA, according to size and according to skill, of course, they're not saying it's these players, but Kevin Durant and Paul George are two of the names that you look at. Now, will he live up to that? Who knows at this point? But when you're comparing him to guys like that, that can mean a lot of good things for the 76ers. And that is definitely not only a good player, a best player available to me at number 3, but that's also a need for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't like that Kevin Durant comparison.
Yeah, it is hard. It's a high comparison, but
no, I don't like it at all. I mean, no offense to him, but when you start saying like, okay, we just measured this dude out, like he's 6'10" with his clothes on, with his sneakers on. That's what they list him as. But he measured out at 6'7" today without without his shoes. I just think there's a lot of pressure on him. Now, here's the thing. You're talking about Cooper Flagg, right? I think Cooper Flagg is going to be the man in Dallas.
Really?
Like, yeah. Because, you think about it. This is a dude who, so you look at it, you got Kyrie, who's coming back from an injury. You have Anthony Davis, who's a quality player, right? But, they both, Anthony Davis has injury history. I think Cooper Flagg is going to be the guy. Like real talk. Like I think that I think he's going to be the guy. I mean, he's going to Dallas where they need a superstar after getting rid of Luka. Whatchamacallit is a great player, right? I'm talking about Anthony Davis. He's still a great player, but I think Cooper Flagg is going to be the man. Like I do. I really do. Now, here's the problem with Ace Bailey. I like Ace Bailey a lot. And here's the thing. Ace Bailey needs to be nurtured. He also I think they need to draft him. But what I'm saying is you got to play this guy. You got to put him in positions to succeed, right? If you don't do that, you're going to mess around and have another Markelle Fultz, right? If we're going to be real, you're going to mess around and you're going to have another Markelle Fultz. This guy needs to be involved in the offense. What they need to do with him is what the Boston Celtics did with Jason Tatum and what they did with Jaylen Brown. When they came in from day one, they incorporated them in the offense. If we see Ace Bailey off in the corner waiting for a 3 to come, you pass him the ball, that's going to stun his growth. I believe they need to play him. I honestly do. You need to play him. If you're not going to play this guy, and if Daryl Morey is saying all the stuff that he's saying about, hey, we want Joel Embiid and we want Paul George to be the key pieces. Now, I know he has to say that, but if he actually means that, they might as well just trade down for the pick. Seriously. You might as well trade down to the 8th pick because you're paying this guy a lot of money to be a 4th option. That ain't going to work.
It's a really good point, and I want to continue this on the other side because when we look at starting lineups for the future of next year and what we even saw from Paul George this year of standing in the corner what does that mean for somebody like Ace Bailey or whoever this, because whoever the 76ers drafted through, you want them to be implemented into that lineup. So as you just alluded to, they don't stunt their growth going into the NBA. But I'm going to come back to that point when we come back on the other side right here on Locked On 76ers. And everyone in my house always has something going on, as I'm sure all of you as well. Everybody's doing their own thing, what they need to do. Busy season, I don't have a lot of time to go grocery shopping or to cook healthy meals at home, and that is why I use Hungryroot. Hungryroot is like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist all wrapped in one. They take care of grocery shopping and meal planning, offering personalized recommendations based on your tastes and health goals. I love how Hungryroot tailors my orders based on what I like or didn't love as well. It really just gets smarter every single time. With their high-quality, nutritious food, you can stick to your gut-friendly, high-protein diet without spending hours planning, which is big for people that are super busy and trying to do a lot of things, or if you're always on the go, traveling for work in general, whatever that may be. The meals come together in 15 minutes or less, giving you more time for workouts, family hobbies, and everything in between. Take advantage of this exclusive deal. Get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/lockedonnba and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's hungryroot.com/lockedonnba. Code LOCKEDONNBA, 40% off and a lifetime free item. And we have to also tell you about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? I know that can happen a lot for people that are trying to really just touch in on their finances, or you're spending $5 on a coffee here and there. It definitely all does add up. That's where Monarch Money is able to come in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. Surprising insights. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and I save more. All in one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Easy collaboration. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA. Once again, you can get half off your first year, so make sure you go check it out today. Go check out Monarch Money right now. So it gets interesting with the Philadelphia 76ers, because the biggest problem that we had with Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey on the floor, for one, they weren't on the floor enough altogether, but for two, Paul George stands in the corner, doesn't do as much, isn't as effective. When you're bringing somebody in that is young, that is ready to go out there, that really wants it, that's coming right out of college, you're expecting maybe a little bit more push. Now, Keith, I want to ask you, because I feel that Jaron McCain was somebody that proved his worth. Now, granted, towards the end of the season, the numbers weren't as accurate, but in the beginning, it felt like he was implementing his scoring and he was able to push through that as well. Do you feel like the 76ers, from looking over this season, made it more available for him to get scoring, or he was able to push that even more? Because when we talk about Jaron McCain, that brings us to our draft pick at number 3 as well. Do they need to draft somebody that can be like a Jaron McCain and push through that scoring and give them another opportunity to get points on the board?
You know, I think that, like, I think the hard part about the whole Jared McCain thing is, like, he only played in 20-something games.
Right.
And then if you notice the last couple games, he kind of struggled. I think that, you know, Jared McCain is a great complimentary player right now, and that's not a knock against him. I just feel bad for saying, I don't want people to think I'm being critical of him. The thing is, you got to understand this. You know, Jared, when he's on the floor with other players, people aren't scheming against him, which enables him to do certain things. Those last 3 games when guys were injured, and all of a sudden, if you notice, his shot messed up. So he was unable to do a lot of things. Like he had that string of 3-point games that he was shooting. He just couldn't do it anymore. But I think the biggest thing about this draft pick, to be quite honest with you, is the 76ers had to get this pick. They just had to. I mean, when we look at the 76ers, they realize that. I mean, first of all, you look at Joel Embiid, he's coming off an injury. You look at Paul George, he's coming off an injury. Not only is Joel Embiid coming off an injury, he had 3 surgeries in 9 years, 2 in 12 months, 14 months. So when you look at the Sixers, you look at them with the salary cap. Like prior to getting this pick, they had $149.1 million tied up in 4 players: McCain, Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George. With that being said, they didn't have any wiggle room besides the draft pick to upgrade their roster. So right now, when you look at this, the thing that's so vital is that now they have some breathing room. They can get a young talent. And no offense to Jared McCain, I like Jared McCain, but the guy that you're supposed to select with the 3rd overall pick in a way deeper draft than last year is projected to be a way better player than Jared and them. Like this is guy, I'm not saying all-star type of guy, but when you're a top 3 pick, people want you to be an all-star. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that is the thing that's much and really important about this pick. You know what I mean? Like how this guy gives the Sixers some wiggle room. Now, here's the thing. These are some options that they can do now. Okay, you could take the pick and you could select the guy. We both agree they should select Ace Bailey.
Yep.
From there, if you don't do that, you can take that pick, a player, possibly their 2nd round pick or a future pick, and trade that for somebody to get like get like an A-list veteran who you feel like who can come in and help. Or you can trade down, right? Like trade down to number 8 or do whatever. I wouldn't do it, but you can trade down. Like honestly, you can trade down, and that will enable you to save some money on the cap, right? So that way you can say, okay, Yabusele, we could probably give you more money. Okay, we can also keep Kelly Oubre. So right now, this pick enabled the 76ers to be more flexible because before they didn't have any options, none. They were shattered. If they wouldn't have got this pick, they would have been done.
It would have been terrible. I mean, when you look at a team that absolutely needs somebody to come in and make a difference, this was an absolute must. And you're putting it up to chance, and it ended up working out for the Philadelphia 76ers. Do you really think that Daryl would do anything but keep that number 3 pick? Because those are really good alternatives that you list there. And I don't think a lot of people look at that side of things saying, hey, yeah, the 3rd overall pick is great, but also there are some other avenues. Do you see a way? Is there any other player out there that you see, okay, maybe Daryl would go after that and try to trade this pick in a player? Because to me, I think this draft class is deep. You build on that young unit and you bring him in. But do you see Daryl going in another direction? Because I don't think that he should.
I mean, it depends on who you can get. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it depends. Like, if you can get Giannis, let's keep it 100. If you can get Giannis and
buy
then
the pick.
Sudden, you know what I mean? The pick is like, hey, bruh, good luck in Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Now, again, you know how things have to add up with financially, the money, all this other stuff, right? But if you can get that type of player, you know what? I mean, I think the pick is gone, right? But at the same time, like one of those things I said before is like, right now you got a young talent. You don't know, like as much as Daryl Morey says, oh, we feel optimistic about Joel, you don't know what's going to happen until he gets out there, right? You just don't know. So with that being said, it's one of those things where, I look at it like if you could get a young talent and you think it's a great one, you keep them, right? But again, if somebody really wants that pick, depending on what they're willing to give up, like I would at least listen to them, but right now, gun to my head, I'm saying I'm keeping it. You know what I mean? If you got Giannis, you got Joker, who you got? Like,
right, yeah.
Aside from that, I'm keeping the pick.
Listen, if Giannis is on the table, I'm sorry, everybody. I don't care about the third pick anymore because at the end of the day, Joel Embiid could be ready to go, but he also could get injured again. That's still a possibility. It's a long NBA season. So, yeah, if Giannis is on the table, goodbye, Ace Bailey, whoever they were picking at number 3. But to me, it has to be an absolute superstar that could come in with Tyrese Maxey to be able to give up that number 3 pick. We agreed that it should be Ace Bailey. Let us know what you guys think in the comments, who you want at number 3. If you want the Sixers to go in a different direction as well. But we'll keep on talking lottery night right here on Locked On 76ers. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a moment. And we have to tell you about FanDuel. NBA playoffs, they are in full swing. A lot of upsets happening, a lot of close games. It's been a whole ton of fun to observe. And every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Which players are showing up for the biggest moments, and how can you track their trends and help you build your next bet? All I'm going to say is Aaron Gordon's been having a pretty good playoffs over there in Denver, so maybe he's somebody that you want to be able to bet on. And, of course, a lot of other players, Jalen Brunson for the New York Knicks, and a lot of players that have just made an impact in this NBA playoffs. You can place those player props. What would it look like to combine live prop bets mid-game based on how the action unfolds? You can also check that out on FanDuel. And a $200 bonus bet that could add to the excitement. And if your first $5 bet hits, that is absolutely huge if you want to bet on these games, on these player props in the NBA playoffs, because they are in full swing and some players have really been showing standout performances throughout these second rounds. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. So make sure you go check out FanDuel today. So Ace Bailey, our pick, we touched on that earlier on. Keith, to me, the one thing that makes me excited looking at the 76ers going forward, and I'm taking Joel Embiid out of this equation, they have a decent young unit. Now, I think they would need another superstar per se. If Joel Embiid can play up to the high level, that's a 50-50 chance at this point. We don't know what's going to happen. It could be great. It could be absolutely terrible. But you're looking at a team that has Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Justin Edwards, Adem Bona as well, and then this third overall pick. So when you're looking at the 76ers, they're not in a situation where the Jazz and the Wizards are in. Granted, they're not going to get super far without Joel Embiid. They're not an NBA Finals team or an Eastern Conference Final team without Joel Embiid, but it's still a young unit that you can look at and say, okay, they wouldn't have to fully rebuild if Joel was out of the equation. Still need to bring in that other superstar, though, if they had that problem.
I think they still need a lot of work. I mean, seriously, like if you look at this playoffs, and you're looking and you're seeing what the New York Knicks are doing to the Boston Celtics, if you're looking at what the Indiana Pacers are doing to Cleveland Cavaliers, you know what I mean? If you look at the Detroit Pistons, you name some guys, but when we look at all those teams, those rosters that I just talked about, they got more talent from top to bottom than the Sixers. And when you look at Joel Embiid, nobody knows like how and what shape and how good Joel's going to be, right? You don't. No one knows how good Paul George is going to be. So, I get it. Like, I think that what we do is a lot of times we see people and we saw how the Sixers were tanking. We saw how, guys look good because they were playing a lot of teams that were tanking at the end, right? But when you do and you see what's in front of you, but when you sit back and you look at these teams and you got to say to yourself, like, okay, how many of those guys that come off the bench for those other teams will be starting for the Sixers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that, you know what, they have options now. They have a young guy, but I'm not ready to say that, here they are, they're about to take a leap forward. I just feel like, right now they're a team that got a lot of money. Like right now, if they keep this pick, they're going to be over the cap with 5 players, over the cap with 5 players. So, when you do something like that, you're supposed to be a championship contender, right? Not a team that's tanking. You know what I mean? Not a team that's in the lottery. So I just feel like the 76ers, they got a ways to go, in my opinion. They just have a ways to go right now.
And the ways to go is interesting, too, because you combine that with how long does Joel Embiid have? If Joel Embiid gets hurt this season, I feel that maybe he should just call it a career at the end of the day, because he has gotten surgery after surgery after surgery. And no matter who you draft, no matter what happens. Now, I think that young core is something to look forward to. I'm not saying that they're going to be a New York Knicks or they're going to be even a Cavaliers or Indiana Pacers or anything like that, but it's something that could get them past that hump of the play-in tournament and possibly in that first round. But at the end of the day, all you're depending on is your big man being healthy. And if he is not, the rest of this does not matter, unfortunately. That's just the reality of the situation. But before we send things off, I do want to touch on the craziness of that number 1 pick in the lottery and the Dallas Mavericks, because it kind of ties in with the Sixers. Because when you look at Nico Harrison and the Luka trade, everybody was saying, oh, that's so crazy. And both of us talked about who will be better off next season. Will it be the Mavs? Will they still have AD? They have Kyrie Irving. They have Derek Lively. And now, Keith, they got the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, which will be Cooper Flagg. So that's a team, although I know what happened in the season and it was a little bit crazy with the trade, but they're a team that could contend next year in the Western Conference.
I mean, they could. I still think that, with Kyrie being injured, it's going to take them a while to get stuff together, but they have a pretty good team. They do. I mean, they have a young athletic team and they have a squad. But you know what? I'm looking at OKC. You got to ask yourself, what about OKC? Oh, yeah. What about Minnesota? What about Houston? Houston's going to be a little bit better, right? So there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that are going to be good. Now, again, they will be in the mix. I'm just going to say that. They are going to be in the mix. And they could have, I think Cooper Flagg, like I told you, I like Cooper Flagg a lot. I mean, I do. I really like his game. And he's a young player. So with that being said, he's going to be, if knock on wood, if everything works out for him, he'll be in the league a long time. His body is going to mature. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. So whereas he's going to become a better player. So, yeah, I like that. And I like AD, So they do have a talented team. I don't know just yet if they're going to be like the team to beat just because of, OKC and Houston and the T-Wolves. Now, the one team I feel sorry for, to be quite honest with you, is the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, the Charlotte Hornets, his team can't do right. And then you look at the Utah Jazz. I mean, the Utah Jazz, see, it's funny. Like a lot of times people say this thing is rigged, right? And the reason why I'm saying that, didn't the Utah Jazz get fined for tanking? Mm-hmm. I mean, they did a masterful job. And what did everybody thought? I thought they were going to win the thing. I was like, oh yeah, me too. Nah, it didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way. So, what about Toronto, Brooklyn, teams like that? You like feel bad for them. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But here's the one thing I'm going to say this. Joel, like you said, Joel should retire. I'm going to tell you why he's not going to retire. He doesn't want to give back that money. And I'm not saying, like, think about it. Like, you leave the league, and then all of a sudden they're going to be like, hey, bro.
Where's that money? Hey, I mean, listen, if I was in his shoes, maybe do the same thing. Say, all right, well, I'll play if I'm injured so I can collect my bag at the end of the day. But, oh, my goodness, he's had so many surgeries, so many injuries. It's just been crazy. So, yeah, Ace Bailey could be great, and that's both of our picks at the end of the day. It needs to be Joel Embiid's health that will put the 76ers over the hump if they want to. And back to the conversation, too, about the lottery. When you look at it, The Pelicans get the 7th pick. The Wizards, I for sure thought it was going to be Jazz Wizards at 1 and 2. And you look at that and you say, that is just how the tables turn. And the Mavs get the number 1 pick. I was definitely in shock when it came down to that. And then the Spurs, because you look at those teams, Keith, and, you know, people throw the Riggs comment out there, but the Jazz and the Wizards are teams that don't really have a lot to build upon. The Mavs do. So do the Spurs and so do the Sixers if things work out and things remain healthy. So it's going to be more must-watch TV, you could say, if those teams remain healthy with these new stars coming in.
Well, and then also you look at people like, you know, I don't know how many people text me saying this thing. I had like 3 people text me who said that the thing is rigged. And I'm like, I don't know. And they were like, nah, think about it. They lost Luka. Everyone's in an uproar. The people in Dallas are ready to get rid of, Nico Harris. They're ready to, like, you know, they're upset with the owner, this and that. So what makes them happy? Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag. People forget this. So Cooper Flag, there was 3 drafts that a lot of people were hyped up over. There was the last one was the LeBron James draft. And then after that, the most recent one was the Zion draft, right? Yeah. And now it's this one, the Cooper Flag one. So they're like, okay, Nico, we love you.
Literally.
Just draft Cooper. Just don't mess up.
Yeah, don't mess up, because if you do, oh boy.
Yeah, and put the slip in now. Put the slip
right.
in.
And that's the thing too. I mean, if you look at the NBA right now, it's got everybody talking. It's not just people covering the Mavs or Mavs fans. It's like, oh, wow, Dallas got the number 1 pick. They're going to add in Cooper Flag. Oh, maybe the Luka trade doesn't look so bad. It was still pretty bad, but maybe it doesn't look so bad now. You got the number 1 pick coming in. It's going to be interesting to see how he flows with the Mavericks. So, hey, people throwing the word out there, rigged. All I'm going to say is it's interesting how it all turned out, but it turned out well for the 76ers. So it worked out in their favor, and we'll see what they do when it comes draft night as well. Once again, let us know in the comments who you guys want the 76ers to draft in that number 3 spot. And we appreciate you guys making Locked On 76ers your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On NBA Game Night. Every game, every night until an NBA champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NBA Game Night on Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in to Locked On 76ers. For Keith Pompey, I'm Kayla Santiago saying so long, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace.